Nvidia just wrote a $2 billion check to a company you've probably never heard of and gave them early access to GPUs that haven't even been released to the market yet. That company has one of the most insane origin stories, and its name is Nebius. It's built by the same engineers who built Russia's version of Google, and in one single year, their revenue grew 547%. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether this is the most important AI infrastructure play or it's just another company that's gonna come and go. We got a lot of things to talk about this episode, so let's get straight into it. Before we talk about the stock, you need to know where this company actually came from, because the origin story is insane. This is the CEO of Nebius. His name is Arkady Volozh, and he is a co-founder of Yandex, Russia's dominant search engine that's pretty much Google of Russia. However, in February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. Because of this, Yandex stock was frozen on the Nasdaq. Trading came to a halt and the company was suspended. Volozh didn't stay quiet. He went on record, publicly, by name, and condemned the war. And then he just up and left. And he didn't leave alone. He walked away with approximately 2,000 engineers. And then they all relocated to Amsterdam. They stripped out the Russian assets from the company. And in October 2023, they relisted on the Nasdaq under a new name, Nebius, at under $15 a share. As of the research date of this video, the stock currently trades at about $161. Now, let's talk about what they actually built. 1 year ago, Nebius was doing $35 million a quarter in revenue. In Q4 2025, they posted $228 million in revenue. That is 547% year-over-year growth. Now, the street was estimating $243 million in revenue. Nebius came in about $15 million short. My personal take, that sounds pretty bad, but then you remember that the street was estimating $243 million for a company that just did $35 million a year ago. And just recently, they signed a $2 billion deal with Nvidia. But here's the part that actually got my attention. It's not the revenue, it's not what Nvidia got in return. You saw this at the start of the video. Now, let's go back to it, because there's a line in here that most people missed. Jensen Huang, the man whose company builds the GPUs that run all of AI, just told you exactly how he sees Nebius. Not as a customer, but as a partner for the next generation of AI. And in exchange for $2 billion, Nebius gets early access to Nvidia's Rubin platform, the generation beyond their Blackwell chips that aren't even publicly available yet. That is a structural advantage that money alone can't just buy you. And Nvidia wasn't the only one paying attention to them. Meta is in here. Microsoft is also in here. When you stack the contracted revenue, Nvidia, Meta, Microsoft, you get $46 billion in pre-sold growth at a company that most investors have never even heard of. But here's the honest part. None of that contracted revenue means anything if you can't actually deliver on it. And there's something else I want to show you. In Q4 2025, EPS came in at negative 68 cents per share. The street was estimating negative 54 cents per share. That's nearly a 26% miss. However, I believe that these losses are accelerating because their capital deployment is accelerating. And this acceleration is a deliberate management decision. $16 to $20 billion in planned capex is not a sign of operational distress, but you should be aware of this number. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you. This is the actual SEC filing from the CEO. It notes that he sold 33,358 shares on April 1st for about $104 per share. He's not the only one selling either. Now, I don't believe this is a signal for a fire exit, but it is something to watch. So, after all this, is there still a buy case after this stock is up 574% in a single year? Well, here's the math I ran. At about $161 per share, Nebius is trading roughly 12x its 2026 revenue guide midpoint of $3.2 billion. That sounds expensive, but here's where it gets interesting. If Nebius hits $7 to $9 billion ARR target by the end of 2026, the forward multiple collapses to 4 to 5x. The entire buy-hold decision here hinges on one question. Can they deliver on the timeline? Plus, the analyst consensus for this stock across 14 analysts is that it's a strong buy. However, the average target for this stock price is about 163. The estimated share price spread is very wide. It can go as low as $120 a share to as high as $211. Look, the conviction in this stock is real, but the disagreements are also real. One more thing worth flagging, and this could change the entire story. There are reports that Nebius is in talks to acquire AI-21 Labs. That's an Israeli AI startup, last valued at about $1.4 billion with 50 million in ARR. Nvidia walked away from that same deal. If Nebius closes it, the thesis evolves from an infrastructure provider to a full-stack AI platform. If they overpay, it becomes a distraction. So this is a wild card, unconfirmed as of this recording, but keep your eye out for it. Here's where I land on Nebius. The business is real. Nvidia, Meta, Microsoft already answered the question with their checkbooks. And 547% revenue growth is also real. The 46 billion contract stack is also real. The 16 to 20 billion capex commitment, that's also real. And that capex has to get executed on. This is not a stock for the faint of heart. My personal opinion is Nebius is one of the most compelling AI infrastructure plays available to retail investors right now, but it also carries execution risk, which is why I'm going to wait and watch for the delivery timeline over all the other metrics. But as a viewer of this video, you have more context on this stock than most people who actually own it. Here's what I want to know from you. Do you guys own this stock? Are you guys going to look into buying this? Or are you guys in the same boat as me, where you guys are putting this on your watch list and you guys are waiting and seeing for now? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. If you want this level of analysis on every stock I cover, that's exactly what this channel is for. Fundamental, straight to the point analysis on stocks that could generate you alpha. So subscribe so you never miss one. But regardless, drink your water and stay hydrated. Take it easy.